Guys, what's up? It's Backyard Gunner coming at you with another video. Today I'm doing a video on Airsoft M4 magazines, as you can see right in front of me. I do have my Airsoft MK18 here, MK18 MOD1, just so you guys can see that they all work in an M4 styled platform. So we're going to kick off with a little bit about the magazines. The two at the end are high cap magazines. They are both new Pro magazines. As you can see, both got the windy wheel. And those are 370 round magazines. This one is a plastic, these two are metal. These two are metal, this one's plastic. I couldn't find any information on this. The information for these I already sort of had because I've got the packaging off one of these magazines. This one came with my M4, so not this one, my other one obviously. So I don't have any or much information on this one. I did look online, and the only thing I could find is it's either E&C or G&G Armament 160 round high cap plastic magazine. I'm going to go with yes, it probably is a 160 round. Could be more, but like I say, I could only find E&C or G&G Armament plastic magazines that looked like this. SEMA also was the same, 160 round plastic magazine, so I don't know, it could be SEMA, could be G&G, could be E&C. G&G is quite a good brand. I would expect they would have probably put some markings on if it was a G&G magazine. Has no markings, so I'm going to go ahead and say it's either SEMA or E&C. Moving along, we have our PTS, Magpul PMag, sorry, 75 round polymer magazine, with its obviously 5.5 by 45mm marking there. Oh no, sorry, that is the PTS PMag, sorry, 75 round polymer magazine. And it has the 5.56 by 45mm caliber on there, which is obviously M4s are chambered in that. So are L85s actually, because it's 5.56 NATO. This one is a Magpul PMag 75 round polymer magazine. Now I'd expect some markings, so I'm going to say it's probably a knockoff, but it does look like the Magpul PMags. If they don't have markings, then fair enough. I have had to go and do a little bit of research on these magazines because a lot of them came in packaging with no markings or anything on. They all came just loose, so please forgive me on that. I have done a little bit of research to see what I could find. And finally, we've got an SRC. Again, no markings, but I'm pretty confident because it's the only one I could find that even looks like mine online, is a SRC metal tan high cap Stanag magazine, and it was 140 rounds, which I'm going to have to go ahead and just, because I just fill them up, so I don't actually, count individual BBs or whatever. So I'm going to say this is the SRC, because it looks exactly like the ones that are SRC on the internet. All the others had all metal things, and the only ones I could find, SRC, had the plastic black top, so I'm going to go ahead and say that is definitely SRC. I'm going to say it's a knockoff Magpul PMag. A PTS PMag. Again, I don't know whether it would have any markings on it if it was PTS, but I'm going to go ahead and say it is, or it's a knockoff. Obviously the one I'm unsure about, and then the new Pro. So, as you can see, this is probably the size of a standard M4 magazine. These two are a little bit longer. So I'm going to go ahead and say they may be extended magazines. In reality, I'm not sure they'd actually fit more 10 5.56 rounds in there. After using live ammunition myself and stuff, I've never actually had my hands on an extended magazine in the real steel world, so I'm not sure how much bigger they are. I know that our magazines are sort of like this. Service magazines like this, and they have a little orange marker on the inside to tell you how many rounds you've got left. Obviously this Airsoft magazine doesn't, and it has the false rounds in there, but service magazines actually have a little orange marker, and they have numbers as well, say 30, and then I think the marker's at 25 rounds. I think the marker is at 25 rounds, but obviously you can be firing away and then without having to remove the magazine and sort of have a look in the top. And I'm on about live magazines at the minute, guys, for a second, but without having to remove the magazine and have a quick look down the top to see, oh yeah, I've got rounds. You have a look on the side. If you've got no rounds, obviously here you are running low. But obviously you got the marker, so you can sort of say, oh, I've got 25 rounds left. And obviously we don't really use standard Stanag magazines like this anymore. Apart from in training, you do get, obviously, and they're not plastic, but you get 30 round Stanag magazines that are painted yellow, and we use them when we use blanks. But when you use live ammunition, a lot of the time you use the magazines that are like that, because it saves weight and it actually prepares you more for sort of real life, if that makes sense, like actual combat, because then you can what's the word? You carry more weight when you're actually in training, so the blanks and the metal magazines obviously weigh a little bit more than the polymer mags, not by much, but they do save a little bit of weight. So yeah, I'm just going to quickly show you that all these magazines do fit into here. I'm using one hand, so please forgive, but obviously it doesn't come back out, it is in there nice and tight. Again, you heard it click into place. Nice and tight. Again, nice and tight. That is one of the neutral magazines, so I'm not going to put the other neutral magazine in because there's no point. It's a neutral gun. Neutral magazines are obviously going to work with it. Or, as you'd expect, it did. So I'm not going to do the neutral magazine because it fits. But all the other magazines, I'll get one back out. Oh, you know what, just because I don't want anyone moaning. There you go. There's the other neutral magazine. And this one actually does have a bit of wear and tear on it because I've used it a bit. I've actually been practicing some reloads, so I've actually been dropping magazines on the floor, which is a big whoopsie, a big no-no really, but they're my magazines. If I break them, obviously, I'll have to pay for them, so I don't really care. Well, I do care, but I don't really mind as such. So, my favourite magazines are actually the metal ones, these three right here, because they sort of feel a little bit, you know, feel a bit more real than polymer magazines, and they will probably endure a lot more than the polymer magazine. Especially this one, this plastic magazine doesn't feel very, you can actually hear that creaking, it bends quite easily, so I don't expect that to last too long when I actually start using that magazine. The other magazines, the other polymer magazines, there's nothing in that, no play at all. And again with this one, there's no play at all with that. It's gonna, yeah, expect it to last quite, and in fact I have dropped it a few times, so it's got a big scuff there, but you know, it's not broken or anything, so yeah, the metal ones are probably going to last me a little bit longer, and they are my favourite ones. Second to that is actually these two, but this one a bit more than this one because I just love the way it's got the fake rounds in there. Makes it a little bit more realistic, slightly, in my own way. And obviously that magazine is coming in last. So the capacity of each magazine then, I think I've actually already said because I was explaining the thing, but these two 370 round magazines. Oh my gosh, look, this one's smaller, this one's bigger. No, that one's smaller, that one's bigger. I'm joking, it's an optical illusion. But someone said, right, one of these magazines came with that gun, one of them came separately. On the packaging, it states that the Newport magazine is 370 rounds, and it's a metal magazine, and they are exactly the same. However, someone tried to tell me that one of them was only a 150 round magazine. Now, they're both the same size, they're both the same make. I'm just going to go out on a limb and say I think they're both 370 round magazines. Contrary to what people tell me, I think they're both 370 round magazines. They're both exactly the same magazine, so it doesn't make sense for them to both be the same size but be different capacities. Oh, just noticed that one's actually got a crack there, a little hole. Now the BBs won't actually come out of there because that's just the bit that goes into this little ridge here. So I'm not too fussed about that, but I did just notice that. That's a little bit of a worry. Again, like I say, I've been letting it hit the floor, so it's kind of my own fault if they get broke. Yeah, so these two are 370 round magazines. This one online says 160, but obviously I'm not quite sure what the brand it is, so I'm going to have to say it's 160 for now. Kind of does make sense a little bit against these two because it is quite a bit smaller. Doesn't look it on camera, but it is. Let's actually put it. It's a fair little bit smaller, so I'm going to say that yes, it might be an ENC or a G&G, and it's 160 rounds. It is the same size as this one, and this one is 140 apparently. Again, it was the only magazine I could find online that actually looked true to the thing. All the others were full metal and had this bit was tan as well, whereas this one is actually plastic and the rest of the magazine is metal. And the only ones I could find like that were SRC, sorry, and apparently it's 140. I don't think that's true, but it's what I'm going to have to go with because obviously it's the only thing I could find online. This one was a 75 round, and this one is also a 75 round mid cap. Obviously, compatibility across the board is they are compatible. Well, if this one is an SRC mag, SRCs work with neutral guns. It also works with my SEMA. This one came with the SEMA, so it works with the SEMA, but it also works with my neutral. These are neutral, but also work with my SEMA, and these also work with my neutral and my SEMA. So compatibility, yes, you could pretty much use it with quite a few things. They're all pretty much the same, so I'm going to say that obviously the S&C works in a SEMA and a neutral, and it's also going to work in a SRC gun. So I'm going to go across and just say I think they would all work in your gun. A lot of people I find, and I'm not picking on Americans, but a lot of Americans I found, magazines aren't really compatible across the board. I've seen YouTubers that have put Velcro in the magwell, the soft side Velcro in the magwell, so that magazines fit a little bit better. Now all these magazines fit really snug. This one is tight in my neutral and in my SEMA. So that definitely does not need to thing. It is actually getting quite easier to put in and remove now that I've used it a few times. But when I first got it, it was actually stiff to get in or back out. So some magazines, I'll just do an example. this one in, if I can get it in with one hand. There we go. Right, so some magazines easily drop with just pressing the magazine release. So let's put this one in. Nope, it's not in. There we go. Right, and then I obviously press the magazine release, and nope. So it's quite a tough one. So I guess the thing is, there are some pros and cons to that. The pros, if you accidentally hit the magazine release with this in, you're not going to lose your magazine. It doesn't even drop slightly when you hit the magazine release. You actually have to give it a good old pull. So the good, like I say, the good thing is if you are, I don't know, you transition from right hand to left hand, or right hand to wrong hand, I should say, and that isn't a joke, so don't get upset. Then you don't have to worry if you catch this on your webbing, on your plate carrier, on anything. You don't have to worry when you catch a mag release about losing this magazine. However, if you do it with any of these magazines, and I mean any of these, not this one, because this one also is quite a tight fit, but if you do it with these 4 magazines, all 4 of these magazines drop out quite easily. Have I put that in the right way? Yeah. Drops. That was a new Pro magazine, so I'm not going to do another new Pro magazine. This is the plastic mag. Yep, drops out quite easily. And obviously I showed the tan, but I'm going to do it again, because it's fun. So, you have any of those magazines in your gun, and you catch your magazine release, obviously you are going to drop a mag, and obviously that could cost you your airsoft life. That's about it. Obviously, difference between high cap and mid cap magazines, or low cap magazines. High caps have this windy wheel on the bottom. And mid cap or low cap mags do not. Also, mid cap and low cap mags do not have a window on the top to fill up with BBs. They act on a spring tension. So these you obviously fill that reservoir up with BBs, and then you give it a good old wind up until you see the BBs come to the top of here. Keep winding until it gets quite tight, and then you're ready to go. Now the mid cap or low caps work off spring tension, so you need a speed loader or a tube loader, and obviously fill up the top until obviously you can't anymore. Your 75 rounds, 30 rounds, 140 rounds, whatever capacity your low or mid cap holds, and then into the gun, and it will automatically feed until you are out of BBs. I hope this has helped a little bit with anyone who's getting into airsoft and is wondering about compatibility of magazines, high cap, low cap, mid cap magazines, and just basically how the magazines work and whatnot. I've been Al, this has been Backyard Gunner, and I will see you next time. And I'm doing a separate video in a second because you will notice this is not the Halloween special. Thanks for watching. Please like, share, comment, subscribe.